All right, fellas. So we did lose, as you mentioned earlier, Ben. We did lose Fight Circus 3, unfortunately, and I've been itching to see some Siamese boxing. But for all of you Carnival Barker fans out there, all of you people that love to see some Ringling Brothers enter its way into paid fisticuffs, well, we got something for you. That's Ben Askren in his long-awaited professional boxing debut against undefeated boxer and YouTube star Jake
I'm an undefeated
Paul.
boxer, though. I mean, he doesn't have much more than a guy on a guy in the chair.
I mean, it's so funny, man. Like we're actually going to see this. First off, are you fellas watching? Are you going to watch this fight?
I'll be working, so I can't. I'm going to be on the clock for Whitaker Gastelum. So, oh darn! Oh, what are you going to do?
You're not going to double back and watch it later?
No, not for a $50 pay-per-view.
I mean, well, we're not gonna incur the wrath of the FBI on this.
Hang on.
This broadcast.
I got something for this. If you're gonna ask me if I'm gonna watch this show,
Jay, you gonna watch this show?
Are you gonna be watching? Of course not.
I love how much mileage you're getting out of that thing.
You just keep it by the camera at all times, just in case.
And you don't even make a new one. You've got that by the camera. You're being environmentally conscious. You're minimizing your carbon footprint. I love it.
For the children.
Yep.
So, I mean, I feel ridiculous, but I almost kind of relish it because we talk a lot about Fight Circus, and I feel as though this is as if Fight Circus took itself too seriously.
That's a really good point. It really is, because I personally, and you can watch the show a few times. There's been a couple of episodes where I have just shouted from the rooftops about Fight Circus, but Fight Circus knows what it's doing, and they enjoy it, and they have a blast, and all the characters play their parts. They do it. They put on a spectacle, but they know what's going on. This is a $50. No, really, we're real. You can't judge us for being fake. No, we're just as real as the UFC, and that it's an approach that I think kind of rubbed me the wrong way. If they had just billed this as of course Mike Tyson's fighting Roy Jones Jr. He's only 50. That's going to be fun. This is just ridiculous. It's a boxing match between a UFC fighter, a former champion, and a YouTube star, I guess, who is big. I don't know the weight difference.
Not an NBA player.
I don't see the appeal for me, but I see the appeal for some people. And I say that knowing that the Paul brothers have a surprising internet presence that I don't know what it's for, and I'm okay not knowing. I'm in my mid-30s. I'm a MMA media guy, so I don't need to know. But are we going to have to make our picks of who we think's going to win?
I guess so. I guess we're going to have to do that, Ben. I know you're itching to say something here.
Well, I'll say this. I am surprised at kind of how nervous the forums and MMA Twitter are about it. And it makes me think all the way back to 2008 when Brock Lesnar was getting ready to debut in the UFC. He'd had the one-off fight with Min Soo Kim at like the K1 shit show in LA in 2007. But he was coming that was supposed to be against. Who was he supposed to fight?
Don Young, not Don Young. What's his name? Hung Man Choi.
Yeah, Hung Man Choi, which that wouldn't have taught us anything more either. But 2008, he comes to the UFC as a 1-0 fighter. His debut opponent is Frank Mir, who, was just on kind of the comeback from that miserable run after his accident. But I just remember, and I was susceptible to this at the time. In 2007, I mean, I'd been into the sport for a few years. I was the pre-tough, generation, but I was like, no, like Frank Mir is fighting for all of us. He is going to show that you can't just walk into this and like be a top level mixed martial artist like that WWE stuff, that doesn't fly here. And I see a lot of people in like the Sherdog forums, on Twitter, on Reddit, just being kind of like, come on, Ben, don't let us down. Like, don't let this, YouTube clown like beat a UFC fighter at anything combat sports related, even though you couldn't possibly get a more tilted matchup to say, UFC fighter in a boxing ring. We're talking about
Damian Maia.
Damian Maia is a better striker than Ben Askren.
Okay, I guess.
Damian Maia would like slap the double mint out of Ben Askren's mouth. Like Ben Askren might be the worst striker of any fighter of his high level in modern mixed martial arts history. He's old. He was never a top level fast twitch athlete to start with. That wasn't what made his engine run. I understand the nervousness, even though I profess not to care about the fight. That's all I'll say about it. There's something at stake, and I'm
just amazed that like there's still these question marks about what happens when you mix up people who don't in places where they don't belong. Like, why is this still a thing? Didn't UFC 1 answer a lot of these questions? And since then, we have enough evidence to show that still holds up. Like, we can clearly remember one of the premier strikers in mixed martial arts getting tooled by a boxer in the boxing ring in Mayweather McGregor. Like, we've seen what happens when you bring an incredibly skilled boxer into the cage against an over-the-hill MMA fighter. Well, he got taken down with a low single, an ugly low single, and beat on until he waved in submission.
Boxing fans still point to Ray Mercer, Tim Sylvia, though. I heard it recently.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that's an exception to the rule, but I mean, and even then, it's still not that much of an exception, because we're talking about a bloated, unmotivated version of Tim Sylvia who was dumb enough to sit and actually have a striking battle with Ray Mercer. Like, this is pure just knucklehead stuff. I mean, that being said, I'm going to watch it. I'm not sure if I'm going to watch it live or if I'm going to catch a replay later or something like that. But I'm going to watch it just because I'm kind of a degenerate. But that's sort of the appeal of it. It's just a degenerate appeal. Like, my last assignment as a member of Sherdog, going to a live event and covering it, was it Jake Paul and Logan Paul and KSI 2. Like, that ended my Sherdog run. What the hell? But these things tap into the carnival nature. It's just that sometimes you can go the fight circus route where it's just clearly, okay, this is just for fun, and this has absolutely no meaning on real combat, but hey, let's have a good time and just make fun of how silly this whole thing is. Or you can like, hey, this is kind of silly, but let me put a little window dressing on it, and maybe you believe it. So there are a lot of suckers out there who still believe that it's boxing versus MMA or whatever, and you go ahead, take their money, because yeah, whatever, man.
Do you know what the difference between Logan Paul, KSI, and Jake Paul, Ben Askren is for me?
None.
Size?
$40. If it was a $10 pay-per-view, I'd watch it.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Makes sense. I didn't know if it was $40, because that's the going price for some strange things if you're on the right website. So I don't know. But I don't know what you into, Ben. I don't know.
All right. So then, in lieu of asking us who we think is going to win this silly fight, I have a different alternative question, and it is an over/under question. Over/under number of takedowns attempted in the fight. I'm going to point it at 0.5.
Oh, it's going to be over. It's going to be over. Jake Paul is going to crack the hell out of Askren, and he is instinctually going to go for some sort of takedown, or he's going to go for a clinch, and that's going to be part of his strategy: clinch him and then try to drag him down just to wear him out or just to get in his head or whatever.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a lot of clinching, and it's at best it's going to be really chippy clinching between two guys that don't have much boxing experience. Like, this is not the Thai clinch, Ben. But well, think of McGregor versus Mayweather. If Mayweather had wanted to, he could have suplexed Conor McGregor onto his fucking head. Like, he got standing back control on him like twice.
Yeah.
That's not supposed to happen in a boxing match.
There was a reason why in their contract for that fight, it was like if McGregor attempted any sort of MMA move, he was going to get fined like $500,000 every time.
I remember that. I specifically remember that provision. I wonder if there are questions that you wonder about this fight, if there is provision like that, or the ref is going to be paying close attention to say, all right, don't do this MMA stuff, you little rascal.
The thing is, any ref that's in there, it shouldn't be taking this too seriously. Like, the only thing is, okay, guys, just don't, like, I'm going to make sure you're both alive when this is all over with, but
I mean, you don't have
it's
to.
clearly a joke. Like, it's clearly a joke.
I'm still waiting for one of the MMA fighters in one of these stupid matchups to just walk out and immediately head kick the other guy. If it is Ben Askren, I will like erect a shrine to that man in my home.
Now, how about a Masvidal flying knee attempt?
Dude, if you do a Masvidal flying knee attempt and the other guy's head is there for the taking, he gets what he deserves.
Yeah, especially in a boxing match.
Yeah, like what are you doing?
You have no reason to do that. Like, you have no.
You're not Pernell Whitaker. Like, what are you doing down there?
Yeah, it's like unless you're trying to give the man a special greeting, I don't know what you're doing there.
Well, it's a thank you for making me $10 million greeting. So
it's dangerous on these YouTube streets. You do whatever you can to get famous, man.
Maybe we'll call that the Duffy. Maybe, I don't know.
Please don't call it the Duffy.
We'll call it the Duffy.
All right, so I think so we'll guess. I guess we'll just get just quick predictions on this, and then we'll move on and probably talk about it next week for 10 minutes. Ben, how does this fight play out?
I expect that Paul will win in just a terrible boxing match where there's a lot of swinging at air and it just looks like a West Virginia tough man competition. It's just going to be a shitty boxing match without a finish. Like, it's going to be dumb.
Jay?
How many rounds is this thing? That's an honest, legitimate question.
I don't even know.
Is it 10?
I didn't even bother looking.
Yeah, I know the actual over under is 5.5, so I would guess probably 10, but I don't know. I would say my prediction is going to be
it's 6 rounds in the over under.
No way.
No. I don't know.
Oh man, there we go. Oh, that'd be good. Well, actually, I can find out. It's an 8-round fight. It's an 8-rounder. It's going the distance. Everyone who watches it is going to be really upset. They paid $50 for this. What do you say? 24 minutes of clinching, and hey man, you spent the money. I think the fight goes to decision at plus 150 looks kind of nice right there.
Do you know what weight they're supposed to weigh, or is it just?
I think it's open weight because I know that the YouTube guy is supposed to be like 30-40 pounds bigger. So I guess that's just really how it is.
That's crazy. I didn't think he was as big as.
I guess he's 200 pounds or so, and Askren. Maybe it'll be. Well, actually, I don't know how big.
Yeah, I don't know what Askren walks at.
He doesn't walk heavy.
What, maybe 200? I would guess.
I would say like a $175 probably.
Well, even in one championship hydrated, he usually didn't hit the 185 mark.
Okay, I'm just thinking of like the times I've been around him. He was sitting down. And I've got a little chub on me, and I'm trying to get off right now. So I don't know. Like, just trying to compare what he looked a little bit bigger than me. So I was like, he's probably about 190 to 200, something like that. I would guess. But I mean, he's also been out of competition for a while, so he might have some extra weight on him. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to build. I have no idea what the guy's doing, and I don't even know why I'm talking like this is a serious thing. One of two things is going to happen. Either one, Askren is going to get his chin completely dislodged in an embarrassing spectacle on both their parts, because Jake Paul is not going to look like a good boxer. He's just going to look like someone who can punch better, which is not a difficult feat when you're talking about Ben Askren. Or Askren has been durable throughout his whole career. Maybe his chin stands up to it enough. Maybe he can move enough to deflect enough shots to make it to decision. But either way, he's getting an L, and there will be a lot of people who will point to this as a reason why boxing is better than MMA. All those people are stupid because they are not the same, and this will prove absolutely nothing for anyone's argument.
It says it's a cruiserweight fight.
So what, like 190-ish?
Yeah, 190, 200, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. All right, cool. So